Prologue. Title pending. You are listening at FameTV.info. Author's notes. Hello everybody, Looter here, and hello, I am an amateur author who had just made this novel due to large amounts of free time, will update this in the future, thank you. Scorching hot air, breezed past, caressed his face. The heat almost painful, all around him was a barren land, with deep trenches as rivers of magma and falls of lava that littered the place, like the depictions in books, games and tales. It looked like some version of hell, abyss, or whatever term men and the like use in describing the realm of the dead, assuming that it was the place, as there were flames leaping from their breaches, abominable creatures lurking at the barren glade, and unidentifiable flying creatures that fill the air. Tristan couldn't believe his eyes. At first he was just busy using his computer, sitting and lazing around to kill time. He just finished his assignments and he was up and ready to play his games and burn out some stress. He played his games, yes, but offline mostly, lacking the so-called social life, even the online one. He settled himself with playing offline, away from the brutish players that disguise themselves as friends and men that calls themselves G.I.R. L.S in MMORPGs. So he played his game, taking his time until the pang of boredom overcame his sense of desire in playing some more, considering that in all of the games he had sincerely spent his time on, his characters are of the most highest level and strongest, while doing legacy challenges in which, for some reason, hardcore player like himself makes the difficulty of his game at its hardest while at the same time limiting themselves. Those limits can either be by using only the weakest weapons in game, not picking up loot, or even just plainly going naked in fighting brutal level enemies bare-handed. It was useless, at the same time consuming, which is why hardcore gamers like himself or people with just a lot of free time do it, but what overshadows those needs is the sense of accomplishment the players gets after finishing their inhumanely difficult task. So getting weary of doing the same task over and over again, and recurring failing, Tristan settled himself in surfing the internet. Trying to get a small chuckle in checking online sites dedicated to make its audiences laugh, or even going through videos in the internet, taking in small facts and tips that people in the internet provide. Those simple tasks ate away hours, as time seemingly passed by, not even warranting its cursory movement to those not minding it. While browsing, he thought of trying out a new game, trying to find something other than wasting his time browsing and putting it into something that he can save and remember in the future. So he searched and what caught his eye was an unusual title, Broken Realms. War of the Gods. Sure, the titles is lame, but the concept is what caught his eyes. This is a game that will take you to a new world, where you strive to fight and gain power for both you and your pantheon, a world where, the simplicity of its description made him curious of how the game is played out, taking into account that the game promised life-like immersion. Tristan didn't actually believe that, but curiosity made him act and test it out, even though a part of him really wanted it to be true. He searched the internet for any actual game play, but all he gathered was nothing, a box full of the unknown and chock full of doubt. Bearing no fruit in his attempts, he used his anti-virus to scan the site, knowing that a lot of malware can be uploaded to his computer with just one simple click. So after finding nothing, he went back to the site, reluctantly pressed the big play button. Please input your nickname. Random cancel done. A small input box appeared asking for a nickname, so he typed in his nickname in almost all of his games. T.H.N.O.S, then pressing enter, another input box appeared, now asking for his surname. He pressed the random button next to the done button, advancing him to the gender selection, which gave him two options, male or female. He was tempted to choose female just for lulz gags, but thought differently and chose male. What appeared next was an intricate character creation. Almost realistic. Well, realistic was an understatement, as the person in his screen looked extremely real and the changes that could be made was astounding: lips, eyes, iris, cheeks, mouth, and so on and so forth. This must have taken them a lot of time to do, is what rolled through his mind looking at the sheer amount of changes that he could do. What surprised him the most is the character being naked, which also allowed him to change the size and shape of his character's member. Being the 21-year-old man child that he is, and mostly being a man, he changed the size of his character's prick, altering it, lengthening and widening it to a monstrous length, a/n, pssst, it's 9 inches long while flaccid and 14 inches while erect and about as wide as a wine bottle. What caught his eye was race.change option, which then again surprised him with the surplus of races that even had its own scroll bar to choose from. There were hundreds, some unknown, others are general like elves, dwarves and orcs. But out of all of them, a single race caught his eye, demon race. Choosing the option changed the overall look of his character, turning it menacing and ugly, which he fixed by using countless hours in editing the face using his skills he garnered in playing Sims 1-4, expansions included. So after perfecting his masterpiece, he took his phone and took a picture of his character as well as screen shot, admiring the naked prowess of his creation. From what used to be an average human with average looks that stood in the character creation stage morphed into a 6 feet 2 inches tall and lean demon, a/n. The body is ripped. Dude, as in totally, with long and sleek white hair braided into one, and obsidian black skin fitting that of a demon instead of the usual red. The menacingly ugly face was transformed into that of a handsome man, both sharp and angular facial features with translucent abyss dark eyes which made Tristan proud. Other than those changes, he changed the simple horns into goat horns while also changing the simple spear-tipped tail into a 3-pronged one, a/n instead of one. There's 3 tails, k. If this guy is real in real life I could probably be gay in how handsome he is, he thought while a smug grin was plastered on his face, clearly proud at his creation. If only I was as handsome as this, and my dick is as big as that, he considered dejectedly. Even though Tristan wishes to covet the looks of his masterpiece, he is by no means ugly. His black hair and gray eyes can be considered attractive and enticing, but his slim body could be called girlish or scrawny despite his tall height and broad shoulders. Adding his social incapability, he became inept in mingling with other people even if they were the ones to approach him. After contemplating and looking for any more flaws, he clicked done, and received a new pop-up on screen, determining race fitting to the character's appearance. Death, sired incubus variant, please wait, your character is being auctioned between the demon gods. That's unique, he thought, seeing the unusual loading pop. Ups. 500. What now covered his screen was a price, starting at 500, the sign after the number looked unusual as he stared at it. It gradually increased, from 500 to 550, then to 600, 650, then 800, 1000, it kept going higher until it stopped to 12350, determining the last price for the auction. Did they sell my character? What? Tristan became confused because of the auctions and at the same time a bit angry if the game really sold his masterpiece. But before he could speak, another pop up appeared. You have been bought by Sylvian Ducteric, demon god of sex and dominion. Wah. What happens now? He said out loud unconsciously. A sudden conflagration of green flames sprouted from his computer, spouting and spitting. The unceremonious happening made him jump back in reflex, falling down on his chair and down on the wooden floor, putting him in a brief stupor. Despite his bereft panic, he tried to get away from the sudden and unexplainable event. But the green flames flew, and morphed into green ethereal tendrils, trapping him inside his small apartment room as it surrounded him. What the fuck? He screamed as the green tendrils of flame took hold of him, grasping him with their intense and scorching flames, turning his skin into ash as it pulled him and lulled him. He screamed and screamed as the all-consuming flames feasted upon his flesh whilst it doubled in expanse, covering his entirety. The intense searing heat took over, burning his skin, his eyes and body until his screams of anguish were no longer heard in the vicinity. What took his place was a scorched bed, filled with ash and red burning flames, which then escalated into burning the whole apartment building. A/n, well. That escalated quickly. Listen to the full novel at FameTV.info, direct link in the description.